Welcome back. Today we are making these delicious caramel apple cinnamon rolls. We're going to start off by making our apple filling, and it's important that you do this at the beginning because it needs time to fully cool so it can thicken. Otherwise it'll be super hard to roll up your cinnamon rolls. So I'm combining my diced apples. I used golden sugar, but you can also use brown sugar. Both work great. Cinnamon, butter, and a little bit of lemon juice. Bring that to a boil, then mix in our cornstarch slurry and set it aside to cool. Then we combine our dry ingredients to make our dough and mix together our milk, butter, and sugar until they're just warm to the touch. We're going to pop that in the microwave until our butter is melted and the mixture is warm but not hot to the touch. We're going to whisk that together and then pour it into our dry ingredients. We're going to turn this on low at first and then slowly increase the speed until a kind of sticky dough ball forms. It takes a little bit of time to incorporate all the flour, but it'll come together eventually, I promise. Once you reach this stage, you're going to whisk together your egg just to make it easier to incorporate. Then pour it into your bowl and mix it together until it also is combined. It kind of becomes a sloppy mess at first, but give it a little time and eventually the egg will really work into the dough and become kind of elasticy just like this. When you reach this stage and it's still sticking to the sides of your bowl, you're going to start adding in just a tiny bit more flour, 1 tablespoon at a time. The amount of additional flour you have to add in can vary, but you just want to add a little bit at a time and mix just until the dough starts to pull away from the sides of the bowl like this. It's okay if it's still a little sticky at the bottom, but in general your dough should feel tacky but not sticky, so it shouldn't leave behind any residue on your finger. And when you reach this stage, you're ready to rest your dough a little bit. I like to clean up the sides of the bowl and just kind of like almost, I call it like lazy shaping of the dough. Then we're going to cover and let it rest to allow our gluten to relax and make it easier to roll our dough out. Rolling out your dough can take a little bit of time, so be patient as you do this and make sure that you really flour your counter well so that your dough doesn't get stuck to your rolling pin. I like to make my dough about 18 inches by 14 inches, so mostly a rectangle, and then I like to trim off the edges just to get every piece really nice and even. Then I spread my butter on my dough, followed by my cooled apple filling. You want to make sure you leave about a 1-inch strip at the top of your dough empty with no filling and no butter, so that way you can add a little bit of water there and seal your cinnamon roll log shut once it's all rolled up. Now these cinnamon rolls are going to be a little bit harder to cut than your classic cinnamon roll, but it's worth it, trust me. I recommend marking your dough before you cut it so that every roll is about the same height, and then I highly recommend using dental floss as always to get really nice clean cuts. There's going to be a little bit of ooze as you do this, and if any bits of apple fall out, you can always kind of press them back into place before you let your cinnamon rolls proof. And after your cinnamon rolls have risen, you want to bake them in a preheated 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes. While the cinnamon rolls proof and bake and cool, I like to make the caramel glaze, and because you can never have too much caramel, especially when it's homemade, I also added a drizzle of some of my leftover caramel. I really love this flavor combination, and if you want to make these, the recipe is linked in the video description below. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and until next time, happy baking.